topics today is language. So we will know history about Malay language. So his is Malay history. You want me to read or you read?
We read.
Who wants to volunteer read?
Vienna.
Go.
Or let me choose. I would like to choose Elviana. So,
Aku itu Nadia Tasjid. It was geography.
okay.
The history of the Malay language can be divided into 5 periods. Old Malay, the transitional period, the classic Malay, late modern Malay, and modern Malay. Old Malay is believed to be the actual ancestor of classical Malay.
Okay, thank you, Elviana. I will continue. Okay. Old Malay was influenced by Sanskrit. The classic language of Indian Sanskrit loan words can be found in Old Malay vocabulary. The earliest known stone inscription in the old language was found in Sumatra, Indonesia, writing in the Palapa variety of the Grantha alphabet. And its date is May 683, known as the Kedukan Bukit inscription. It was discovered by the Dutchman M. Battenberg on 29 November 1920 at Kedukan Bukit, South Sumatra. On the banks of the Tatang, a tributary of the Musi River. It is a small stone of 45 by 18 centimeters by 18 by 31 inch. For centuries, Sriwijaya, through its expansion, economy, power, and military prowess, was responsible for the widespread of Old Malay throughout the Malay archipelago. It was the working language of traders, and it was used in various ports and marketplaces in region. So this is the first story about Malay language. So we move to the second story. So who wants to read? Who wants volunteer?
Carry.
Okay, let me choose Kerry.
Other evidence is the Tanjung Tanah law in post-Pallava letters. This 14th century pre-Islamic legal text was produced in the Aditya Warman era 1345 until 1377 of Dharmas Raya, a Hindu-Buddhist kingdom that arose after the end of Srivijayan rule in Sumatra. The law stood for the Minangkabau people who today still live in highlands of Sumatra, Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Kerry. So the last, I think this is oh no, second one. Okay, the second one. Who wants to read?
Christy.
Okay, Charity,
Miranda.
read louder. Okay. Tuna, Tejayuan, it's okay lah. Best.
Satu inscription stone Malay batu pahat bersurat Terengganu is a granite style carrying inscription in Jawi script that was found in Terengganu, Malaysia. Is the earliest evidence of classical Malay inscriptions. The inscriptions date possibly to 702 AH. Constitute the earliest evidence of Jawi writing in the Malay world of Southeast Asia and was one of the oldest testimonies to the advent of Islam as a state religion in the region. It contains the proclamations issued by a ruler of Terengganu known as Suripadupatuan, urging his subjects to extend and uphold Islam and providing 10 basic Sharia laws for their guidance.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So the conclusion, the classic. Let me read lah. Okay, the classical Malay language come into widespread use
before this, you guys just learned about Malay language history from teacher Aisha. So before we jump into the group work, I want to ask a question. So what did you learn from that about Malay language? What?
Two types classical and modern language.
What?
Modern Malay and classical Malay language.
Okay, good. Okay, I think everyone is know about it already. So we jump to the group work about language story exchange. The first is each group reads their assigned story and discusses what you understand about the language. Second group then present their stories to the class, highlighting about the history of Malaysia. So all of you are separate into two groups and do this task in your group. So after that, one people only from your group present about it. So in 5 minutes, do it in group now. Yes. So this is paper for you guys to write down everything you know about it. After that, present it in front of the class. So in 5 minutes faster. Okay, class, are you done?
Not yet.
One minute more. Okay, class, time's up. So, one student for each group present your group work.
So, good morning everyone. And there's 3 facts that we can discuss in our group. The first one is Old Malay. The second one is the transitional. The third, the classical Malay. The fourth, late modern Malay, and the fifth is modern Malay. And then the second one is Old Malay is influenced by Sanskrit. And last one is classical Malay language, still used until now. So that is what we discussed, and that's all from our group. Thank you.
Group.
Okay, what do we got from the previous lesson? So the first one that we learned is the Old Malay, the transitional period, the classical Malay, and into the modern Malay, and finally the modern Malay. So what do we get? The Old Malay was influenced by Sanskrit. That's Malay. The transitional period, the classical Malay, and into the modern Malay, and finally the modern Malay. So, what do we get? The Old Malay was influenced by Sanskrit, that is the classical language of India. The Sanskrit is a loan word that can be found in Old Malay book. That's all from our group. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all. For what I see also, you guys know about it, know how to present on it. So that's all from me. Thank you. See you next class.
So good evening, class. You may address me as Nizam. We are going to continue our lesson.
Are you familiar with traditional clothing?
Yes.
So what is traditional clothing?
class.
Now, please answer it.
English. So can anyone answer this question?
Sir, I think traditional clothes is our inheritance from our ancestors.
What about another student? I want to hear another answer from you. If no one can answer, I'm going to pick randomly one of you. I picked you. Specifically, I picked you so much.
Just answer in mathematics.
So traditional clothing is a culture emblem embodying centuries of heritage and reflecting the unique identity of community or region.
So technically, traditional clothing are clothing that are worn by an identifiable group of people such as ethnic groups and etc. Different cultures has different traditional clothing. For example, baju Melayu for the Malays, cheongsam dress for the Chinese, and sari for the Indians. Another examples of traditional clothing. So, an example of another traditional clothing. Okay, one more. Already mentioned before.
Hi sir, I think I want to answer. Another example of traditional clothing is found in Sempurna, live in Sempurna, Bajau. They call it Al-Bilal for men's clothing traditional.
Okay, thank you. So let's do some brainstorming here. What do you think of traditional clothing? When I ask you about traditional clothing, what comes to your mind? Let's just answer this quickly. Please, anyone?
Untuk madam.
Satu. Another. What about you?
Culture.
What do you think?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
No, I ask you to just
Brainstorming.
brainstorm. What do you think about traditional clothing?
For me, in my opinion, traditional clothing is background.
Yes, so we're going to go forward with our activity, which is round robin writing. So how this works is each of you will write a single sentence continuously according to the topic, which is traditional clothing. How this works is I will give you a piece of paper to write on. The first student to write will begin with a given phrase, construct a sentence and pass the paper to another student. For them to write the sentences until the paper reaches the last student. The last student has to submit the writings to me. You understand? I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this. Is that fine? No. you. I'm going to get it to work here. So just give me a minute.
You may address me as Mr. Chris. So, I am going to evaluate what did you write a while ago. So, here you write, traditional clothing is an important way for people to show their culture and history. Traditional clothing is often decorated with patterns and symbols that tell story about the past. Traditional clothing is more than just what people wear. It shows the value and the tradition of a community. Okay. What's this? Traditional clothing is usually worn during special events like festival ceremonies and important moments in life. Write this. Can you tell me what is the important moment in your life to wear traditional clothes?
Can you repeat the question?
When did you wear traditional clothes that you mentioned that is important in your life?
When I have a cultural event in school, so I wore a Chinese tradition. So that is very important for me.
Good answer. I think you understand what this class is about. So, moving on. Traditional clothing made from material that come from local area, showing what is available there. Can some student tell me which area that uses most of the traditional clothes? The museum. Good answer. Where? Oh, where is that? Okay, I like your answer. Traditional clothing can be adjusted to fit personal tastes, but still keep its traditional alive, connecting younger people with their heritage. Yes. Traditional clothing is our inherited treasure from our ancestors. So we must treasure it so that in the future the traditional clothes will not be forgotten. Thank you. Okay. Finally, traditional clothing is a way to appreciate the rich variety of human culture and how important traditions still are today. Okay. So, while reading this, I want to ask you, do you like traditional clothes?
Yes. Me too.
So, can one of the students give me an answer about how we can take care of traditional clothes?
Always promote it to the young generation.
How about the other group?
Put it in the museum.
Put it in the museum. Okay. I think you all understand the topic. So, before we end the class, I want to ask you, do you like this activity?
Yes.
Do you think it's fun?
Yes.
So, do you remember what we learned a while ago? The importance of traditional clothes. So, Bonita?
Stand up.
Stand